Welcome back to the channel for some more recent Star Citizen news highlights. This week's Around the Verse was hosted by Chris Roberts with Sandy Gardner and featured a Foundry 42 studio update from the UK with Ricky Jutley. Now once again we saw some ongoing work on what is now called the rest stop space stations. I think they used to call these the truck stops. Anyway, these are the procedurally generated stations which you will be taking off and landing in the verse, or obviously probably in later versions of Star Citizen later this year. Now these will replace Port Olisar, and the unique feature of these stations is that they're generated procedurally, and obviously there's a variety of different stations which can be generated so that they don't all look the same. Now they will have individual hangars to actually take off your ship from and land. These will not be personal hangars, but these will be instead of the landing pad system we have now on Port Olisar. Now one of the most challenging things about these stations is actually procedurally generating the interiors, and Ricky Jutley actually admitted that had been quite challenging to achieve, but they've made great progress on this procedurally generated system, and it is looking very good. Now Ricky told us that the prop team have been working on actually making the way props and entities work in the game perform much more efficiently, and basically they're streamlining the system so the performance is, well, a lot better. Been also adjusting some of the metrics in the game as well, and a nice look here at some female character animation. And although it's not in 3.1, this will come later in the year, we got to look at some new systems where you'll be able to actually destroy props and lighting in the environment. Now this reminds me of shooting out lights in Splinter Cell years ago. That used to be really fun. And Ricky told us they're working on the AI subsumption for the wild lines for the AI pilots. Now wild lines are the reactions these pilots will give to us the player in certain given situations.
Obi.
Do us a favour and fight back. Don't like to be just roll over.
Ricky also told us that as they're continuing to make improvements to the AI subsumption, they've actually implemented that in Vandal Swarm and Pirate Swarm in Arena Commander, making it a much more enjoyable and satisfying experience rather than focusing on difficulty. Ricky told us that he's excited for a prototype of a scramble type race event which can work in space or on a planet. Now he didn't go into too much details on this, but the emphasis is going to be on communication and staying alive. One ship which is being fast-tracked through the production pipeline is the Aegis Hammerhead, obviously needed for Squadron 42, and we had a look at some ongoing work on that ship, and we had a look at some ongoing work on the exterior of the Aegis Eclipse, and that's looking very stealthy indeed. There's been some ongoing work on environmental audio, so your actual audio sounds like it's coming from the correct position in the environments. Audio team have been doing some special recording at a studio where they use environmental bits of metal, different objects to create specialised sounds for the ships in space. Well, 3.11 has been released. Now, actually it's been released twice, but the first version had a few problems, so it had to be redacted or retracted. Redacted is Board Gamers Group, isn't it? Anyway, 3.11 is out, and I'm pleased to say that it does seem quite stable. Now, of course, frame rate is going to depend on the time of day you play and the amount of people on the server. Big improvements will not come until later in the year when we get the object container streaming and the bind culling. Now, obviously we'll have to wait and see what them improvements will bring, but I did have an enjoyable experience playing, and I played for over 3 hours, so it was pretty stable. Now, I made my way to Daymar, and straight away I could see the improvements they've made to the surfaces of the moons. Now, I landed at the Arc mining facility, and there seemed to be several reclaimers there. In fact, one's got actually destroyed by one of the other reclaimers, and that was pretty impressive to see the weapon effects there. Well, as you can see, I was absolutely mesmerised by the Reclaimer on Daymar, and I ended up watching it for over an hour, and eventually it took to the air, but it only ever hovered a little way off the surface, and it eventually came into land. So enjoy the Reclaimer on Daymar. Well, thanks very much for watching. Please don't forget to like, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. So until next time, I'll see you somewhere out in that big universe very soon. Bye for now.